filming setup and a filming background, and I also don't have my trusty cameraman with me today, so please bear with me. The setup, the lighting, everything like that may change if it doesn't suit me or suit you guys, so just bear that in mind, but hopefully you'll be able to see everything that I'm doing today, and I'll make sure to explain everything as I go as well. Okay, so no more rambling, and with that being said, I'm going to move on to the topic of today's video. So I'm going to be making something surrounding our October craft box. So you may have seen myself and all the other designers like Josh and Alexis and Pete all make projects surrounding our October craft box. So we do come out with a new craft box each month, and it's a fantastic saving where we gather a load of products together at a fantastic deal, personalised for you guys and the time of the month as well. So this one is the Wishing on a Star craft box, and I do have it behind me, so I'll just bring it round. So this is how your package will come. So in this gorgeous brown Sizzix craft box, it has all these lovely illustrations on the outside and on the inside, and inside you get a selection of like dies, there's a stamping block, there's some embossing powder, there's cardstock, all sorts of stuff. Okay, so the main die that is in this box goes with the Wishing on a Star name, and this is the Make-A-Wish die set. So hopefully you can see that there's not too much glare from the packaging, but this has some gorgeous like stars, moon, and some sentiments, and then you also do get a stamp set with that as well. So that's a fantastic set. You get loads of dies in there. I think it actually says 9 dies and 7 stamps. So that is the main die that comes in that set. You do also get a Sizzix Thinlits die star tag, and this works fantastically with the die that I showed you just before, and also the other product that comes in here is the star shaker domes. Now I think you get, how many do you get? I always forget. 6. You get 6 of these star domes in there, and they fit perfectly with the tag and with the Make-A-Wish die set as well. Okay, so they all work together. Obviously, to go in a shaker dome, you need some sequins. So we've got a little baggie of our festive sequins. So there's a mixture of our festive sequins in there. And then you also get our embossing ink pad. So it's a clear embossing pad, like an ink pad, that you can use with the stamps, and then you can add some of the embossing powder. So this is like a lovely grey colour. This is our cobblestone embossing powder, and you sprinkle it over the top and then heat it using like a heat gun or something like that, and it creates this gorgeous sparkly effect. So that's a really fun sort of technique to play with. You do also get our permanent adhesive roller, which is fantastic if you are making cards. Really easy, really handy way of sticking things down. And then you also get 5 sheets of plain white cardstock, which is again perfect if you're making cards. And then you also get some of our like coloured Sizzix cardstock. I'm just going to open this up to show you the colours. It is fantastic, our cardstock, because it has a gorgeous texture to it, and then it's smooth on the other side, and it's just wonderful for die cutting really. So you get the mango tango colour, hibiscus, Earl Grey, cobblestone, caramel toffee, agave, this one's sorbet, the lovely pink colour, mint julep, ballet slipper, and arctic sky. So those are all the colours that you get, and you can make some lovely makes with those using that lovely die set, and you can mix and match the colours as well, so you get all of those in there as well. Okay, so that's everything that comes in that box. Like I said, it is at a fantastic deal. You do get a great saving. So if you're thinking you really like the die set, you want to try it out, or maybe you're crafting for Christmas, or you've seen one of our makes already on Sizzix Facebook page, then make sure to go over to the website and check that out. Obviously, now, I'm just going to put this here, I am going to show you a make with that. So I'm going to create like a sort of shaker dome tag almost, and I'm going to use the Make-A-Wish die set, and I'm going to take this main star section, and I'm going to want the border effect on there. So I'm going to take some white cardstock and I'm going to cut that out. I've already got one here, so that's what I'm going to have, and I want 2 of those. I've just got my machine off to the side here, just for space. But I am using the fold away machine today because I don't have that much space, so I'm just trying to preserve what I've got. So I've got these 2 here, and then I'm going to take 2 shaker domes. So I've got, I think, 2 left in here. I'm just going to peel that off, and I've got my 2 shaker domes there, and I'm going to create like a sort of full star. So I'm actually going to put them back to back, and I'm going to fill them with sequins, and then these pieces here are going to go over the top and hide the sort of join as well. Okay, so I'm actually going to fill this with sequins before I take this adhesive layer off. So you can see on the shaker domes they do have this sort of layer that you peel off, and it is sticky, so you don't have to use glue. But I'm going to put the sequins in before, because if I take the adhesive off and then put the sequins on, it's going to get stuck to the adhesive and it's just going to be a nightmare for you. So I'm going to put plenty of sequins in there. You want to make sure it's nice and full, and guarantee you will get sequins everywhere if you're using them, so don't worry about that. I find them everywhere. I think I found a sequin in the shower the other day, so that's just normal for a crafter. Okay, so I'm going to peel that off like so. Hopefully you can see that. So you just peel that layer off, and I've actually cut a piece of grey card using this part of the die set. So they're just kind of like little thin strips, and I've taken that strip and I've sort of folded it or bent it, and I'm actually going to use this as a sort of loop for my tag. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stick on top of the adhesive one side and then stick the other side just on top of the adhesive like that, so you get something like that. Okay, and then I'm going to peel that other layer off and carefully join those up and give them a firm press. Okay, the adhesive should stick and work perfectly fine, but just give it a firm press just to make sure it's all stuck, especially since you've stuck that bit of cardstock there as well. Okay, so we've got our main bit of shaker dome, and then I'm going to use these and I'm going to glue them in place over the top so you can't see this line here. So I'm just going to grab my glue, which I should have done before. And make sure I can get my glue out. Okay, and I'm just going to pop some glue on here. Doesn't want to come out for me. Alright, what I've done is lost my lid to my glue, so it unfortunately dries up from time to time. So make sure you keep hold of your glue, your glue lid, sorry. And you just need a thin layer. I'm just using the Sizzix Express glue, but any kind of glue would work. You could even use Sizzix adhesive sheets if you've got those. I'm just going to place that over the sort of unsightly join, I guess, of this star. Okay. And then I'm going to flip it over and put one on the other side, because obviously it's a tag, so it's going to dangle around. You're going to see both sides. So just make sure you put one of these sort of star borders on each side. Now this technique is really, really easy, but it's just so effective and it looks amazing on your presents. And I think they'll, like, someone who receives this as a gift would think you've put so much effort into it, but in reality it's quite simple to do. Okay, so I've just glued those back to back on either side, and you have your sort of star shaker tag. Now this could actually be a tree decoration as well, so you could stop there and have them as lovely tree decorations, and you could change up potentially the sequins or the outside colour as well, depending on the theme of your tree or the colour of your tree. So you could just stop there, but I'm actually going to use it, like I said, as a tag on a present. So I'm going to do a separate element as well. So obviously you want to be able to write on the tag as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the outside element of the star tag, and I'm going to cut that out of some ballet slipper cardstock. Again, using my Big Shot fold away. Okay, so we've got that tag cut out, and then I'm going to stamp one of the gorgeous sentiments from the stamp set. So like I showed you before, you've got some of those lovely stamp sets. I'm actually going to use the Make-A-Wish stamp, and I've already popped it onto my stamping block. You don't have to use one of these, it does just make it a little bit easier if you are stamping. So it's up to you if you have one or you want to use one. So I've just popped it on there because they are actually sticky. They just adhere straight onto it and peel straight off. And then I'm going to take the clear embossing ink pad, and I'm actually going to emboss or stamp onto the smooth side of the cardstock. So when I was talking about the cardstock before, it does have a textured side and a smooth side. When you're stamping, you do want to stamp onto the smooth side, otherwise you're not going to get a clean stamp. Okay, so got butterfingers today. So I'm going to pop that into my ink like so. Make sure it's completely covered, and put the lid back on there, and then I'm just going to stamp it in the middle of my star tag. Now just sort of wiggle it around without moving it, obviously picking it up and moving it, but just making sure that all the areas of the stamp are sort of firmly pressed onto the card. Okay, there we go. And then I'm going to use some of the cobblestone embossing powder. I am going to use one of our funnel trays to catch the embossing powder or the excess embossing powder, because you obviously want to save any excess. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to place that in there, and I'm just going to sprinkle over the top, and the embossing powder is going to catch onto where we've stamped. Okay, so just take my tweezers and knock off the excess. Okay, and you should end up with something like that. Okay, now it is still a little bit loose, so be delicate with it because it's not going to meld to the cardstock until we heat it. I'm just going to put my excess in there. See how easy it is to use one of these? Like, you can just use a piece of paper if you don't have one, but if you're using embossing powder or glitters or sequins a lot, they are super, super handy to have. Okay, and then I am just going to take my heat gun and my heat mat, so I'm not burning my surface, and I'm just going to heat it for a couple of seconds until you see the powders meld together. Okay, you should be able to see it when you're looking at it, and it'll slightly change colour as well. I have got it on the highest heat. There are 2 heat settings, but just keep sort of wiggling it around. And I'm happy with that. So maybe you can see, I'm not sure if you can on camera, but it's kind of slightly changed colour. It's glittery. It's not going to come off now. So you can touch it, it's not going to come off, and it's all sort of melded together and melted together. Okay, so we have that there, and we can now start to piece together the present. So I've just got my present. I've just used some black wrapping paper, but obviously use whatever colour you want, and I've already wrapped it with some silver ribbon. So I'm going to take my tag and I'm going to pop that on first, I think. So I'm just going to thread that through. There we go. And that means that then I can write on the back who it's to and obviously who it's from. And then I'm going to thread this over the top as well. You could even attach the this tag to sort of this part of your shaker dome tag, so it's kind of like whatever works for you, because obviously my shaker dome is going to hang slightly lower, so it's just whatever you want, but at least this way I can like fully see sort of both of my tag elements, which is quite nice. And then I'm just going to pop can't do a bow now. I'm gonna pop a bow in it. Okay, and we've got a lovely bow. Snip that off there. And there you have your sort of finished tag with your shaker dome. Okay, so like I said, you could make this smaller and bring it up slightly so they're sort of the same size. You could attach them together, change up the colours, obviously to match your wrapping paper and your ribbon as well, but they're a really gorgeous way, really easy way of personalising a present, whether it's for Christmas or for birthdays or any kind of special occasion. And you can even use the star shaker dome as a Christmas ornament as well, so kind of doubling up on your makes there. But I think that's just a really nice, easy way of personalising a present, particularly this time of year when we all love a little bit of extra sparkle. Hopefully you enjoyed that today, guys. Hopefully the setup was okay. You could kind of see what was going on and what I was doing. I'm open to feedback, so let me know if there were any sort of issues and we can work through those. That's absolutely fine. But if you did like the October craft box, make sure to go on over to the Sizzix website and check that out. It is a fantastic deal, and maybe if you're not a fan of this one, there's new ones coming out each month at the moment, so make sure to keep an eye out for next month's box as well. Okay, so make sure to stay safe, guys, keep crafting, and I'll